Hi, nice to meet you. I'm Omar from Matcha Capital. Just wanted to give you a little bit of a background on me, really. I started off as a commodities trader, moved into crypto in 2016, and ran my own crypto company, which I sold in 2020, and then joined MENA team at Binance for around 18 months. Brought the team to Dubai, and then left at the end of last year to start my own fund, Matcha Capital. So Matcha now runs investments in the pre-seed stage, and trades existing tokens as well as sort of new token projects. So really interesting time for us right now. It'd be really good to find out a bit more about what you do.
Nice to meet you, Omar. And I'm Asal. Actually, I entered crypto space in 2017. And I entered as a researcher and writer. But after that, I worked in business development, marketing, content management, and R&D departments of different companies. Then I started fundamental analysis, and I joined a hedge fund as an analyst, market analyst, and market advisor. And actually, I found out that traditional fundamental analysis is good, but not enough for crypto market. So I started Unchained Data Analysis. We formed a team for predicting the market using AI, machine learning, and quantitative risk management, whales behavior, and lots of other data sets. So yeah, that was what we're doing, analyzing the market. And after that, actually, I was working as the analyst. I had my podcast in Iran before I moved to Dubai, and yeah, I had some activities as an maybe Twitter influencer in the Persian community. Then I moved to Dubai and joined TDMM as the ecosystem and community manager, and I work in business development section, and basically we're market makers. And that's it. Now I work with TDMM, and we help the projects and also exchanges for market making.
Okay, cool. No, really interesting. And I think one of the things I've been very keen to know is the situation in Iran. Obviously, I think everyone's aware of the economic situation, the difficulty there. But I've done a few talks here in Dubai where people from the Iranian community have come and said, look, we need more resources, more tools, more accessibility in not just in Persian but generally resources as a whole. So I mean, how have you found operating in Iran? And is the demand there for crypto the same that it would be in Dubai, or how are people really accessing crypto?
The fact is that in contrast to what many people in other countries may think, people in Iran are really eager to know more about crypto market, and there are lots of reasons for that. But after all, there are lots of people who are trading, who are investing in crypto, and also mining. And yeah, crypto is pretty popular in Iran, and although the markets are down now, and it doesn't make a difference in all of the countries, lots of people are in losses. But anyway, in Iran, I can say that the average knowledge about crypto market, about mining, about Bitcoin is higher than lots of other countries, because people are finding a way to actually gain independence in their economics and their financial aspects of their lives. So yeah, people are really trying hard. There are lots of communities in Iran which are really progressing great, and different companies are being actually created in Iran in this field. And I think that many good things can happen in our country, but although not only in Iran, but also in most of the countries, there are lots of regulation issues. So that will be better in the whole world, I think, but in the next years, not now.
Absolutely.
Yeah, what do you think about the current situation and how it can affect the businesses?
Yeah, no, it's really. I'm really interested in the dynamic in different countries. So obviously, previously I've looked at sort of the MENA region, but also taken interest in South America and Africa, and just see these industries pop up. So, I've always. It's very difficult for us to get a true picture of what's going on the ground in Iran, but it sounds like there's an industry building up around crypto, not just on the social side, which obviously you mentioned, but it tends to. You tend to get smaller niche companies operating in different parts of the crypto sector. So I mean, is there a sort of a central resource in Iran that people go to for crypto knowledge, or is it kind of a fragmented market at the moment?
Actually, I don't know. I don't think that there's a centralized, center and resource for people to learn because, as you know, this market is really young. After all, we all say that no, there are lots of resources and there are years that people are working, but I think that still there are not any united resource to learn everything about crypto, and no one can learn everything about crypto for sure. So all of the people who want to enter a specific space have to go and do the self-study and learn using YouTube, even or using other resources that are available. But in Iran, some of the universities actually have started to have some courses, but I don't think that they're really, really great that can help a person really enter the international market. But for basics, they're fine. If someone wants to enter the international market and wants to work in this business, and this industry, is better to have self-study and read the articles. It's better to even read in English because there are not too many resources in Persian. Yeah, that's the situation now.
Yeah, really interesting. And in terms of your company now, how did you sort of get involved? What was your journey to crypto?
Actually, when I entered crypto in 2017, I used to be a writer, and I started studying computer engineering in the university. So I was not so far from this technological space. And then
so given where we are in the market, obviously the market's had suffered terrible losses. You know, we're down 70, 80% in most products. Let's talk a little bit about the bear market, how the market's handling it. And I think for me, the thing that's different this time is, we all kind of sat through the last cycle wondering how much lower it could go. And I think it's a very dangerous game to try and guess where the bottom of the market is. And as I said, what's different this time is we've had a number of really big names implode on the market, started off from Luna, Celsius, Three Arrows. So I think one thing that I'm really hoping to come out of this market is that, the retail market really understands that these big names in crypto are no different to them in terms of their attitude. I mean, we call it smart money. It's proven to be not so smart, really, for me. So you will get a fresh wave of capital come in the retail markets, people that come into the market later this year, maybe next year. But people that have gone through this cycle once, I hope you will not consider any protocol or project too big to fail, really. So you're very much plugged into the retail market with your social media work. What are the retail traders saying about this down market at the moment? The cycles or the downtrends are always the same. The only difference is that there are now more people in the market. And that's so dangerous to try to understand the lowest level. That's the thing that is really dangerous for retail, and they're always believing those kinds of analysis. Like when it's in the top, we hear some articles and analysis from different analysts that say that it will go much higher, and they just make people greedy to buy more in the highest levels. And then when it comes down, they say that, oh, buy the dip, buy the dip. And I've seen lots of traders, investors, some people who might consider themselves as smart money, but they have bought in levels that they said that, okay, we're buying the dip, and now it's 50% down, lower than the level they bought. So you should not try to understand and predict the lowest level, because anything can happen. Lots of disasters are possible to happen. And I think the last cycles proved us that you should expect everything. And you remember in 2018 when the market crashed, everyone was saying that, oh, it's going to come back, and we will see again 20K, and everyone was trying to have kind of a hope. But then we even reached 3,700 in COVID dump.
So it was much lower than the expectations, and some people just bet 10,000, 12,000 and thought that it's the dip, but it was not. And it's the same now. People should not think that it's okay, it's over, we will see higher levels now. But they also should be aware that now there are some bad sentiment in the market that is trying to force them to sell what they're having in losses now. Although I don't see the market go back to those levels soon, really. I don't think that the same thing happened in the last cycle and it will happen again. It needs, some people think that it will go up, but no, it needs a huge buying pressure to go up, and we don't have it now. We don't have that good sentiment now. But anyway, people are impressed by the media and what media is telling them, and media is sometimes there to give them wrong information. And I don't believe in investing in crypto. The thing, if you are a retailer and you want to gain profit in 1 year or 2 years, you shouldn't expect this market to be something that is really profitable for you, and you have to be cautious.
I think so, and trying to predict where the bottom of the market is always 9 times out of 10 you're going to lose. It's a very difficult task to do that, and quite frankly there's a lot of luck involved in it, which is what investors often don't talk about. So I think it can get worse. I think there's 2 things that make this bear market potentially worse. The first one is we've not really had the sort of huge down markets in the real economy yet. We've not had the deep recessions that we had, let's say, in 2008 yet in the market. Despite what people say that crypto is decoupled from the real economy, I don't think it is at all yet. So, with the pressure on interest rates in the US, for example, and I believe the impending recession in the US and Europe and globally, quite honestly, the market can get a lot worse. The second thing I think is, you mentioned a very good point, that greed drove a lot of this market up so high. And the very big funds and the big names were no exceptions. The only difference is they have bigger PR machines and more following. So I think that you will see a number of failures in addition to the ones that we've already seen, further failures, which could really pull the market down even further. So people should act with a little bit of caution right now, and not assume this is the bottom. And I don't think we're done with some of the big failures that we've seen, because sometimes the blockchain is a fantastic tool for unearthing a lot of these, let's call them, scandals. Because one of the beautiful things that's happened in this market has been the ability of the crowd to pick through exactly what transactions happened on chain, and then really unpick a story that really forced the hand of these large players to say, hey, yes, we got caught out. You wouldn't really have that in it's very easy to hide a lot of that activities, especially in private companies, but even in publicly listed companies. With a blockchain, it's very difficult to hide those sorts of things for too long. But I do think there's a number of other key areas that could make this worse. One, of course, being a crisis in confidence for stables. So we obviously saw what happened with Luna, but the other big story is of course how confident people feel about Tether. I don't know what your views on the stability of Tether are. I think personally, if Tether was to depeg, it would be catastrophic for the whole market. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to see the market drop a further 50% from where we are now if we had a true kind of long-term depegging of Tether. So, what are your views on that?
Yeah, exactly. I think the only good point that can be captured from the downtrend is that people start to learn and people start to understand that it's not that easy. It's not, in bull market they just long some tokens and they go in huge profits and they say, okay, that's it, I'm the master of the market. Yeah. But it's not like that, and the downtrends will show them that it's a professional thing, and either you have to give your money to somebody who really knows it and is professional, or you have to go and study and be a professional. And and maybe in the next cycles, people will enter with much more knowledge. That was what happened in the last cycles as well. But now it's really important to understand that there are lots of risks. You know, in 2018 there were lots of projects in the maybe top 50 projects that are now totally dead and gone. And that can happen again. Lots of different projects will totally get omitted from the market, and people should understand and should find out that they cannot trust all of the projects. They're just ideas, they're just startups, and everything is possible in this market. And as you mentioned, I think one of the worst dangerous things that can happen to this market is the pegging tether, and that's the way I think some people might lose their faith and their trust to the market, because you know they entered without sufficient knowledge. They think that stablecoin is going to be stable because the name is a stablecoin. But you are trading a centralized stablecoin. There's no difference between stablecoins, centralized ones, between them and the banks. I think they're even worse. They can be worse. And that's really dangerous. People are not most of the times willing to go to decentralized stable coins like DAI for different reasons. Algorithmic stable coins like Luna, like what happened to Luna, are not safe at all. And most of the people just go to the easiest way, which are centralized ones like Tether. And if that happens, I think that would be a real disaster, and we will see much lower levels.
Sure, and I think it's likely to be defended quite heavily because it's such a crucial part of the infrastructure of the crypto markets. You know, the likes of, we've already seen these sort of, let's call them crypto bailouts with FTX and with Binance. Which is also a sign of the maturity in the market. So, you know, it's not all bad news that we have companies in our sector that are able to help these projects. But I think a depegging of Tether would be very heavily defended by the likes of those two sort of crypto giants. So, you know, on the one hand, yes, we're in a very bearish climate. It can get a lot worse, especially with the real economy failing. On the positive side, though, you know, you often need, when the markets are overheating, you often need these sort of clear outs. And I hope what comes out of this market is a renewed emphasis on risk management and the need to have that bridge between, you know, traditional finance and crypto, because, you know, anyone referring to TradFi or bankers historically in the crypto markets has been ridiculed. But now we're seeing the need for a lot of that traditional finance thinking applied to crypto markets. And I think the biggest challenge is going to be, how do we apply a lot of that sound risk management and, you know, 300 years of financial market experience without going too far and turning crypto away from the reason why probably people like you and me got into the space, which is, you know, a fundamental belief in the freedom of money. So I think that's going to be really interesting over the next sort of 12, 18 months.
Exactly. We believe in this market. We believe in the freedom of money, for sure. But we should consider that it's a financial market after all. If you're there to gain profit in fiat, so then you have to consider other aspects, not only fundamental belief. And you know, the thing that you mentioned, the combination between traditional markets, financial markets, and crypto is really important, because there are two different players. The first group are the ones who know nothing about the traditional financial markets, the methods in traditional methods, and they just know about blockchain. They just know about holding and Bitcoin, blockchain, and just that. And if they're there to gain profit in fiat and in they're there for trading. If they're just holding, okay, but if they're trading, they're not successful most of the times. And in the other hand, we have the people who are coming from traditional markets with the insight of just implementing those methods in this market. This market is not mature enough, in my opinion, and has lots of, is really driven by sentiment and is really volatile. So if you don't know the nature of the crypto, if you don't know the nature of blockchain, you cannot implement those methods correctly. And it needs someone to combine them correctly, to understand, to have a good understanding from both sides. then combine it and have a really, realistic insight about the market. And that's how I think you can understand, you can be sustainable in this market and have consistent profit. And you shouldn't be greedy. I think that's the point. And I think lots of big players, as you told, lots of smart monies are there coming from traditional markets, which are not smart anymore in this market. And it takes time, and this market is now young. I think we will see lots of improvements in the next years, maybe in the methods of market analysis.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, it's been really interesting talking to you, and good to learn a little bit more about you as well. Hopefully we can have a catch up when in better times, when the bull market returns, wherever that may be, and see and monitor the fallout from that. But in the meantime, really nice to have met you.
It was a great pleasure to meet you and talk with you. Yeah, I think that we should just mention that downtrends are necessary for any financial markets if it's not Ponzi and if it's going healthy. And we will catch up later for sure. And thank you so much.
Thank you.